Hey guys, Jet Joe here, and welcome back to my bunker here in Atlanta, Georgia. It is post the Cold Atlanta Invitational BBR 42 playtest. The guys left here yesterday, and wow, what a great time we had. Had fun. Of course, the guys were great. Great players, of course, but more importantly, they're just fantastic people. And had a great time hanging out, playing. And got a few more customizations going. So just want to give a shout out to all the participants that spent time away from their families and of course money to come out here to buy plane tickets. So thanks to War Torn up in Toronto, Sire Blood in LA, Corpo 24 in San Francisco, VK Cowboy out there in Oklahoma, and of course Hambone in Kansas City. Detroit was supposed to be here. Something came up, it wasn't able to. So Detroit, we greatly missed you, and hope everything's all right with you, buddy. But we definitely missed you, and hope we get to see you again here soon. But had a great time. Of course, Lieutenant Dan also came by for 2 days. He's actually a member of our Atlanta group here. Came by and played with us as well. So thanks, Dan, for stopping by. And so just had a great time, and so thanks to them for coming by. So what I wanted to do is I'm not going to do a video today. This video is not to talk about the rule changes. We tried several games. I think about 7 or 8 games on some different rule sets, and so I'm sure Sire's going to need some time to think about the different things that we did and maybe make a final decision on what he wants to actually implement. So I'll maybe do a video later on that. But what I want to show you right now is I'm thinking about the base that I'm going to make. I've designed a base for my stationery table. Of course, if you've seen my other videos, you know I have 2 tables now. One is a fold-up table, but that's already been put away. But I have designed a base, at least in concept, and I'm going to be getting together with Lieutenant Dan here in Atlanta, and we're going to actually get this thing on paper and maybe get it built. And when I do that, I'll definitely make a video and show you guys what I'm doing. But I like this height. Before, this table was sitting on a white fold-out table. It was really low, and you sit in a normal chair. But after spending this past weekend with this table on my sawhorses, because I had to kind of use these sawhorses just to make it work, I decided that I really like the height, this kind of bar or countertop height of this table. So I went out to a place called At Home, which used to be Garden Ridge, and bought a couple pretty cool stools here. I definitely wanted something that's kind of rustic, got leather, metal, or pleather, I should say, and metal, so it kind of goes with the rustic kind of theme that this bunker will probably eventually be. Got 4 of those, so definitely like the height, and we'll be building a base to kind of go with that. But wanted to show you a few other customizations here that I have gotten going since the bloodbath, or not the bloodbath, I'm sorry, well, the bloodbath test completed. And the first thing is this right here. Now, let me get a little closer here. Table. So what we have here is a very, very cool flight stand block. And this concept came into fruition because of Absolutely War Torn up there in Toronto. So I want to give a big shout out to you, my friend, for your assistance in helping design and think up this concept, and then also helping to make some of this happen physically. So let me just talk to you a little bit about what this how this came to be, and maybe the reason. The first thing is my flight stands, whether, I don't know if you know this or not, but they used to be just in a box like this. And what would happen is all the flight stands were just in here. And of course, they're all magnetized because these are magnets, right? And what would happen is, they'd all fall over. And then, you'd go to pull one out, and then they'd get stuck to each other, and you'd grab one, and you might end up grabbing like 6 of them, and you only wanted one. So actually that just happened there too, but it's a lot better. So what we did, I was talking with War Torn, and I said, I love your flight stands. These flight stands are by War Torn, but I explained to him the situation with that. I said, man, it'd be great if we could come up with some type of way to have holes, like a drill press or something. And he was like, you know what? I've got the ability to I have access, or he said he had access to a laser printer, or not a laser printer, laser cutter. And so he called me up, asked me for the dimensions of the area that I would need, and et cetera, et cetera. And so what he did was he brought me some different pieces. I believe it was MDF. And so let me explain to you basically what this is. So this is actually 4 layers of MDF. And the top 2 layers are the holes. So what happened was he brought me a layer of MDF, and it had all of the holes laser cut in them, right? And then I had a second piece of MDF that also had the holes laser cut in them. And it just so happened to be that when you line them up, the holes were perfectly aligned, which originally I was going to use them as 2 different flight stand trays, one for table 1, one for table 2. But then I thought, you know what? I think I want the holes a little bit deeper. So what I did was I just simply aligned the first sheet of MDF with the holes. I laid the second one on top of it. I glued and nailed that together, right? And then I took 2 more sheets of MDF and put those and glued them on the bottom as well. Okay, so essentially that's what this is. I don't know if you can see that. That's 4 pieces of MDF all glued and nailed together. Then, of course, I sanded. Then I took it to my table saw, and I trimmed it to make sure it was nice, clean cut all the way around. I sanded, all those kinds of things. And then in laying it down, I decided, I was like, you know what? I need to be able to pick it up easily, and that's hard. And then I was talking with War Torn. He said, you know what? Why don't you route the bottom? I was like, dude, that's brilliant. So I turned this over. I don't want to do it now because my flight stands will fall out. But I turned this thing upside down, got my router, and I routed underneath on the bottom side on 2 sides, right? So now, if it's sitting on the table, I can easily reach my hand in, get my fingers under there, and that gives me the ability to lift it up off the table. And then, of course, I went through the process of, sanding, priming, painting, sanding, priming, and then, of course, I dipped it. Same process I did with my table and my Japanese box. And then, of course, I put some felt on the bottom as well so it doesn't scratch the table. So if we go over here, we'll go over here like this, you'll see that it has a perfect little place to fit in my accessory area of my my table. Now the other thing that he brought me was this these very cool fuel gauges rather from Stephen Gelso out in the Bay Area, San Jose, I believe, San Jose or San Francisco, and he's one of the Moffat brothers who was at the BBR tournament, and he had these and brought them with him. And what I love about them is, one, they're smaller than the other fuel gauges, and they have numbers on both sides. Now, I like these fuel gauges a lot, and the big size really doesn't bother me that much, but I like the fact that it does have a number on both sides, because you know what is not the best is when they're flipped over like this. You got to reach in and flip it over to see what it is. Whereas here, it doesn't matter. You can see. So he got these from War-Torn. Actually, got these from Stephen Gelso out there in the Bay Area, and he was kind enough to give them to me. So thanks again to both War-Torn and Stephen. So thanks, guys, and great work on that customization. So thank you so much. And let's look at the last little bit of customization here, and it is these task markers. So War-Torn made these very cool task marker sets, and there are 6 of them in the set. I think I did a video on this before, but you know, you get Russia, you get Germany, you get Japan, the US, UK, and Italy, and it comes with a clear acrylic. And if you feel it, it's very smooth on one side, and it's a little bit, you can feel where there's engraving in here, so that digs down into the acrylic. And of course it comes with a little marker with it. And the intent is to put the marker on the table, such as this, right here, right? There's a C-zone, and then you've got your acrylic task marker, task force marker. So now, if you're wondering what these little black things are, I just decided as an extra safety precaution, I just didn't want my map to get scratched. And yes, I've coated my map, and of course War-Torn stands behind these, and I 100% agree that these shouldn't scratch your map. But you know, I just wanted to have one little bit of caution, because my I've got some bumps in my table that maybe I didn't sand out that great, and because of that, you know, if you go across and there is a bump, it is going to scratch. Now, if you have a totally perfectly flat 100% surface, it won't be a problem at all. I also threw a little bit of felt on the bottom here, so that when you throw them on the table, you can easily smooth them around. It's not going to scratch your map. So then that's just mine. I do have a second set. I haven't put felt on those yet, so I'm kind of trying these out and see if it bothers me. You know, the advantage is, you know, there's 110% assurance that this will not scratch a map. I'm just gonna wait and see if seeing 4 little black dots on the corners is gonna bother me, or if I just want to go with a nice clear acrylic. But the cool thing about these task force markers is, like, you know, you've got here on the C-zone, you can definitely see through the C-zone. You can see C-zone 5, right? So you can even put it over land and see where it's at. But so again, these were made, designed, and created by War-Torn. So he did those. He did these as well. And of course, he helped me with my flight stand storage block and the flight stands themselves. So great work, my friend, and appreciate you helping me out. And so anyway, that's where we're at, guys. Sorry this video went a little bit longer than I thought, but I just wanted to give you guys a little brief update and where we're going to be on our customizations. And we will be making a base here soon, so stay tuned. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon, okay? Thanks, guys.